you will be live on YouTube in 1 minute.
Okay. My big moment.
Yeah. Yeah, you're on.
Can you share the link as well so we can share it?
Okay, I'm gonna get started. So welcome everyone again. Pretty crazy to think that just 48 hours ago we were welcoming you all for the first time. We just want to say thank you again for competing in this first ever virtual hackathon with InnoDays and our other education partners and company sponsors. So we've really just had a really exciting 2 days. I hope you've enjoyed your time as much as we have. So we just want to kick things off and show you guys some photos that came out of the event, and also encourage you to continue. If you have any photos that you want to post, in bed before a nap this afternoon or something like that, hashtag ID micromobility will be the place to do all of that. Otherwise, just feel free to continue to use the Slack if you've got photos ready. So just want to continue showing the slides from the teams that we have. Let's see if we can go to the next one here. Great. So as I mentioned, 48 hours ago, you were just starting from idea to prototype on the one challenge. And across many countries and 3 main time zones, you had 80 participants and over 40 mentors. Let's see. And here are some of the highlights. Okay, so we're going to get right into it for how this session is going to work. So one representative from EDF will be in each of the at least one will be in each of the 4 rooms. So we're going to have 4 separate Zoom links, kind of roughly categorized by what the approach to tackling the micromobility and social equity challenge was. So you can think of this kind of as the digital version of what you might see at a conference where there's 4 different stages or rooms. And so we also posted this in the Slack channel in general. So you will be assigned to one of these rooms. Yep, I see Thomas is posting it as well. So there's a schedule. We're going to have one moderator in each of those rooms, keeping everyone on track. But how it's going to work is you're going to have 2 minutes to present. You can either use the live a live presentation with slides or whatever else you've prepared, or you can use the video that you've uploaded this morning. So we're gonna allow you to share your screen for those 2 minutes, and then there's going to be a 3-minute follow-up, just quick questions, answers, and any other feedback. So we'll keep things moving fairly quickly. If you're not presenting and you do want to see another group, if you have a friend or if one of the other groups presentations looks particularly interesting to you, we've posted the schedule in the general Slack channel, so you can kind of set up a little schedule for yourself this morning to see if you want to bounce around some of the other rooms. Please do mute your mic if you're jumping into one of the rooms. So with that, I think we can pass it over to and start setting up the rooms. So yeah, one more thing to note. So just some of what the judges will be looking at, and this, you know, should come through in the videos or in your live presentations, just general innovativeness, how different is what you're presenting, and how much value are you adding beyond what's already out there in the market. Feasibility, so challenge fit, presentation, and then the continuation idea just being that you've at least thought about some of the next steps or how this would really go about being implemented. So please touch on this as much as you can. You know, if you're showing your video and you want to address any of these, you'll have an opportunity to do so in the Q&A. So, okay. And there's been a request we see to just share that the judging rubric. We can post this again in the Slack just so everyone is aware of those 5. So, okay, with that, I think everyone should know which room they're in. If not, you should be able to find it. Thomas, do you want to speak at all to where they can find which room they're going to, or should they already have that information? Oh, I think you're muted, Thomas.
I just posted the links to the different rooms. So Marta, if you can go back one slide. We will have 3 tracks. The first one is mobility and people. If you look at our website, you see a section titled Final Schedule. So for the people category, we actually have more than 5 teams. So 5 of you will stay in this room. This is also the room where all the other track sessions will return to once you're done with the pitch sessions in your breakout room. So the first set of teams will stay here, as well as the lead mentor and the mentors that we've assigned for this session. The second theme is mobility and form factors. So the link here is tiny.cc/ID20 form. And the third one is mobility and goods. Same tiny.cc, ID20 for InnoDays 20, and then goods is the wording to end the URL with. And the final track is mobility and addressing the COVID-19 crisis, ID20 COVID. So your lead mentors will moderate the session, and they will also be able to share the links with you. On the judging sheet question, we've shared that in the calendar invite and also in the email. That's the one where judges will add their notes and their rating. So we don't want to share it in the public chat. For all participants, you will get the evaluation later. We'll get to that after the pitch sessions. So for now, is everybody able to, we'll say, you teleport to your room, and then we will get started in the breakout rooms. Everybody in mobility and people will stay here. And for all the mentors, our goal is to have 3 to 5 mentors in each of the rooms. So either you've seen the email where you've been assigned to a room, or you go to a room that is interesting for you, and then we'll ask the lead mentors to check whether we have 3 to 5 mentors in each room for the questions.
Yes, and please do use, Roland has posted the Airtable. That's going to be the most up-to-date. There are a couple things that shifted around just to keep a balance in the different rooms. So I'll just post that one more time so everyone has it in the chat, and again in the Slack channel. So if you don't know exactly where you're going, just please find yourself in this table, and we're going to start heading to those rooms right now. So again, these aren't breakout rooms in the traditional Zoom setting or sense. Rather, there'll be a separate link. And then when you're done in there, and your moderator should know this, we'll come back to this people room, mobility and people, for just a quick final wrap up. So everyone feel free to hop off here if you're not in this room and head over to your correct link.
Thank you, Ellen.
All right.
So Ellen will have a room, Jack will have a room, Julian has a room, and this room, I'll pass it on to Mike to take over this room. See you later.
Okay. Perhaps give the individuals a couple minutes to go scurry on to the respective rooms. Perhaps while we're waiting for the others to go ahead and depart us, let me give you a description of what we'll be covering in this Zoom room. We are covering mobility and people, and we have 5 groups, 3 coming from Europe and 2 from the United States. And I see a few familiar mentors, so that's always comforting. The numbers seem to be rather constant. We have 36 participants, and that number has not changed too much over the last 30 seconds, 1 minute. So I would say, without further ado, we would go ahead and begin. Our first presenter would be EU number 3, Como, and their description is as follows: micro mobility platform that provides users with an innovative pricing model and an enhanced sense. So perhaps if we could have a representative of Como come join us and start with the pitch.
Hi, I'm Isabella, and I'm the team lead of Como. I'm just gonna share my screen with you.
Great.
So we can start the pitch. You should be able to see my screen now, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll start with the pitch if that's fine.
Please.
We are Como. We identified 3 problems of micromobility users and providers. First, there is a huge gender gap in the user base. The sentiment for the offered solutions is rather bad, and smaller local solutions struggle to increase their user numbers. Our solution tackles these problems. For the end user, we conceptualized one platform that integrates all available providers in a community. We integrated an innovative pricing model and micromobility recommendations based on detailed customer profiles. For the providers, we collect and aggregate user data and support them with detailed user reports and growth recommendations that recognize diverse target groups. Our pricing has 3 levels. Depending on the market fit, our model can either evolve into subscriptions or pay what you want models. In our prototype, you can see our pricing model in action. The users decide if they want to pay more and donate for a local project, or they want to pay less and give valuable feedback to providers.
Okay, Isabella, thank you very much. Open up the stage to any questions.
And decide for which local project
Oh, sorry.
the paid surplus. The last, the user gets an overview of the payment. Our revenue streams are commissions from the booked rides, the reports and recommendations we deliver to providers, and governmental subsidies. Our next steps will be to develop a closed beta together with the city of Innsbruck and local providers. That's Como.
Okay, and now I can make it official. Apologies for that, Isabella. I didn't necessarily want to go ahead and give you the hook so quickly. That was not my intention, but I didn't hear any sound, and so I kind of took that as a cue. Apologies for that, but nevertheless, we go ahead and continue. If I could open the stage for any questions that you might have for Isabella concerning Como. Not all at once, please. No comments at all?
Is it possible to go back to the first couple of slides?
Sure.
Or the video?
Tell me where to go.
I guess just on the intro, the app is intended for micromobility providers or for the city. Who's the customer?
So we have basically 3 stakeholders here: the providers of available micromobility solutions in a certain city, the end users, so people that want to go from A to B, and the city itself. So those are the 3 stakeholders.
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you for that
There
question.
was a question, Bella, there was a question in the chat if you could repeat or replay the video without sound while we're doing the Q&A.
Sure. So are there any more questions?
Isabella, would you be able to explain more what you mean by donate to a project? What is meant by a project, and how would those be vetted?
Sure. So our idea is that we want to create through this platform really a sense of community. And we thought about if I want to pay more because of great services, we could use that for small local projects that can be funded from these donations.
Okay. Thank you for that question, Lance. Any other questions?
One last question. Will you send that link that you had at the bottom right on the chat?
I also had a question. The target group, I think you in the video it just says female and male and gender fluidity. That kind of like takes everyone. But what do you think is your actual target group in terms of age and professions and stuff?
So our actual target group of end users is basically everyone in the city who wants to go from A to B. We had a look at current users of micromobility solutions and identified that they're not really diverse. With the platform, you create a really detailed user profile with all your abilities. So also if you're, for example, not capable of going with a scooter, and depending on your user profile, you get different solutions recommended for your way from A to B. So we want really to enable this platform for everybody, so everybody can use the mobility solutions available in the city.
Okay, so your stakeholders or the micromobility providers are like the private fleets that we already know, like scooters and Share Now and stuff, but also the public transport, as well as bike providers and your and car sharing and stuff. Is that right?
That's right, yeah. And so our really first goal would be to encourage smaller providers to be on the platform, because they often don't have the knowledge to do actually the things we can provide them with our platform.
Especially data analytics and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? If not, I'd like to go ahead and thank you, Isabella, for your presentation. And with that, we would go ahead and move on to our next presenter, which would be Move It from Group EU4. And Move It, sorry, apologies, yes.
Oh, good. I just want to say that I'm the presenter of Move It.
Oh, you are? Okay, you know what? Well, you're already here, so I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to you right away. Will this be a video or?
This would be a video, yes, right.
Okay, good. Then without further ado, Christian.
I'll just start right away with the video.
Okay.
And there you go. I hope you see all it. There we go.
Hey there, I'm Diego and I study in Innsbruck. I'm a stereotypical student, which means I love drinking beer. The biggest hassle for me is to transport it, since I don't have a car. Public transportation is super expensive. Taking my bike for transporting a box of beer is sketchy. And those fancy e-scooters around here, man, they're just not doing it for transporting goods. All I want to do is drink beer and having a good time for my buddy Peter. How do I get my box of beer to Peter? So I heard about this fancy app called Move It, and let me tell you, it is magnificent. You cannot just transport beer or any goods, you can even earn money with it. And now the best part, it is sustainable and available anytime, everywhere. So here's an example of how I use Move It. After opening the app, I have 3 options to choose of: get a ride and carry goods, and delivery of goods only. I choose to get a ride and carry goods. Now I see where the closest vehicle is, 200 meters only. I reserve it and start my journey. After arriving there, I enter the code and accept once more that I want to make an additional delivery along the way, including the detour of 6 minutes, which will earn me €2.50. So I start driving this interesting, silent, modern vehicle. My sense of navigation, though, is terrifyingly bad, which is why I'm super happy that in-app navigation is given. After arriving at the pickup point, the package gets handed over to me and I need to scan the QR code. I load it into my super fancy Move It cargo space and drive to the handover location. Here I meet the recipient and we both verify the handover. That's it. The detour actually took me only 4 minutes, since I might skip 1 or 2 traffic lights. After a few more minutes of riding this fabulous thing, I arrived at Peter's, where I parked the vehicle and pressed finish ride.
I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it. I like to move it, move it.
That's it.
Okay. Well then, thank you very much, Christian. I'll open the stage to questions.
Christian, just 2 things. First thing, how many people were there in your team?
How many people do fit in this vehicle?
No, how many in the team?
How many in the team? We're 4 in total.
Okay, and second thing is when you talk about Move It, so if I'm an individual and I book a ride, usually how this thing will work, like booking process?
It's pretty similar to when you book your e-scooter. So you just go out there, look where's the closest one, say I want that one, press it, then you need to enter the code into the vehicle and then you can go wherever you want. The special thing, the 3 options you have, that you just go from A to B and pay 25 cents per minute, or you make this ABC tour, which we just gave you the example of, or you'd make delivery only.
Okay, so are you planning to have your own fleet, or are you planning to partner with existing e-scooter companies for this?
We thought about a collaboration between supermarkets us as an app provider and maybe the city as an infrastructure provider.
Okay.
So,
And we
And
don't
who will
have
be
our,
this?
we don't, sorry for interrupting. We will partner
it's
with
okay.
Ono. Ono, it's a, yeah, basically, it's not a scooter, it's like a tricycle or sharing provider based in Berlin. And we would lease their fleet to start in Innsbruck and then like in the future roll out the plan to other cities.
Okay.
We have the Ono founder in the audience.
Yes. I think he's not in our room though.
He's not in our group. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But he's
cool.
in one of the sessions.
Thank you.
Great, thanks for that question, Akash. Any other questions? Going once? Going twice? Going 3 times? I have one last question. Was that a photobomb of that panda in the background, Christian?
no, that's actually for cuddling in those lonely Corona times.
Okay, got you. All right, well then thank you very much. If we have no other questions, then I would suggest we go ahead and continue on to our third team, which would be ties and cars. So who would be presenting from ties and cars?
We try to both present if that's possible, and I can do the screen share.
I consider yourself to be empowered, Faria.
Great. Hold on. Okay, Vera, are you there?
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
here.
Okay, good. Okay.
Okay, so every day we have in all the cities really, really crowded streets and a lot of traffic. And we thought about like, how is this caused actually? And we saw that there's a large number of cars during rush hours, and there's a really, really high amount of private cars driven by working professionals going to their business centers, to their offices, and to their locations. So how can we solve that? How can we make business people share a ride?
So this is how we came up with Ties and Cars. And it's basically an exclusive car sharing platform for working professionals. So imagine David and Vera, who would be at work, and they feel like they want to go home. So they just open an app, push a button, and connect with fellow business professionals. They share some points for riding together, and afterwards they can give each other a handshake or high five as a voting. So how do we create value? Well, basically, we reduce traffic. We create an exclusive networking opportunity, and you can also save the world. So who's going to pay for this? Companies. For why? Well, our USP is that we're going to reduce traffic. You're going to get a green image. There's a contribution for a great cause. Money is going to go to a foundation. You could save parking spots, garage costs, and just generally create a nice company culture. And what's the business model? Well, the fare is calculated based on kilometers, which most often the company will pay. Then you just register with the company code, and 90% of the ride goes to saving the planet, and 10% to the awesome team behind it. And this is how it would look like. Basically, this is an app, very simple. You just push the button, then you choose the time, like I want to leave in 20 minutes. On the other hand, there's David here who just accepts it and then earns social points, but basically both earn social points. And you can also connect on the network on the app, and it's directly linked to LinkedIn. So yeah, so let's share some rides and connect.
Great, Freya, thank you very much. And look, again, I will open the stage to anyone who has any questions.
I have a question. Are you planning on making it exclusive to employees within one company, or opening it up to multiple companies around an area?
Actually, it's exclusive for business people, but not only in one specific company. but we thought about like it could also connect people from business people from companies who are located near to each other. For example, if you have like a campus where it's located, I don't know, BMW, Daimler, and Dropbox and Google, it connects you not only like, and you work at Google, it connects you not only with people from Google, but also with people from Daimler, for example, if the app realizes and thinks that you might be interested to share with that person, right? Or because you live near to each other.
There is a question that came from Roland, who would be keen on you going through the deck quickly, just to, as a refresh. And while you're going ahead and getting that set up, I'd like to go ahead and remind the mentors to use the judging sheet. And that was something that was actually delivered to you as an email and within your calendar invite. So if you can go ahead, those mentors out there, and take a look at that judging sheet, we would be very grateful. So
Should I just share again then?
yeah, if you could quickly, that was a request that came from Roland.
Great. Okay.
Roland, perhaps if you can let us know if there's anything in particular that you would like to go ahead and see within this deck. For once, I'm actually keeping. Oh, you can speak. Great.
Yeah. Go ahead. Keep
You're empowered. That's great.
Actually, yeah. Could you leave it on that the 1 through
this one?
1 through 5? Yeah.
Would you have any particular?
Yeah, my question would be concerns about safety, security with the business professionals. I guess the professionals part is there, but you know, any organization has very different ranges of people. Any thoughts around that?
Yes. We thought about like, because for example, if you use BlaBlaCar, you have like this rating system, and that you can also like leave a comment or whatever. And we have it as either you give a handshake or a high five or a wink. And like it's more like a like button, but we thought that because rating might be too much because it's employees and professionals not inside a company and in companies, but that is used as like, okay, you liked it or you didn't like it or there was something. So yeah.
Thank you. I think that makes a lot of sense about not being super detailed in the review, since it's a person that you're working with, a coworker.
Exactly.
Great.
Thank you very much for that question, Roland. Is there anybody else who might have a question?
I asked the team to clarify what the benefit is to the business who will be funding all of this.
Well, there's a lot of benefits. I think a great benefit is that you get a green image, and yeah, because you reduce traffic and you donate the money to, like, you can, as a company, you can choose the foundation it goes to. It doesn't have to be like you're planting trees. It could be that you, I don't know, give it to your child's foundation as well. And you could also save on like parking spots and garage costs, because mostly big companies provide their own parking spots for their employees, I would say, and that's often an issue because they don't have enough. So you could reduce that. And also it's a way for you to create like a more networked company, and for your employees to get a wider range of connections to maybe, I don't know, generate ideas, get inspiration from other companies or whatever.
Thanks. Because this is always a match, right? It's not somebody from the same, it's not a couple from the same company. It's usually.
It doesn't have to be, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Maybe just a suggestion from my end, you talked about handshake and high five, but I think today you might want to think about using the elbow as this indicator. But in any case, thank you very much for that presentation, and we will move on to the next team. That would be US number 1, and
I will be the presenter.
Excellent. Well, then I don't have to go any further. Roland, thank you.
So on your screen, you see this big, tiny CC link. This is our video. Because of some issues on my internet and so forth, I'd like you all to go there And I will also put that link in the chat. Oh, thank you, Titus, my other team member. So
Done deal.
please open up that link, and I'll be back to talk with all of you in 2 minutes.
Okay, I think we should be in the last seconds of that video. Then I would say if anyone is finished and has some questions for Roland, we can go ahead and get started.
Yeah, be happy to answer any questions. Maybe while people are thinking about the questions, I'm really happy that we had the opportunity to do this event. Speaking with John, who you can now see on the screen here, was really inspirational to hear all the places he's been. And we just want to get more people to be like John. And so through all sorts of conversations and ideas and feedback from him, we went on this journey, and that's how we got to the idea we're showing you today. But there's a lot more to the idea if it were to be taken further. But I'm open to questions right now.
Okay. Again, thank you very much, Roland. And are there any questions from our mentors, our jury?
Roland, the story turned out great, having seen it come along. Just became curious, though, who's owning ePark? It sounds like it's really going to be turned over to the cafe, or is it going to be a public space the city owns?
I would say it's a partnership between the energy providers and the local businesses. It does not have to be just any one single business. So you can imagine there might be three, a restaurant, a cafe, and a shop that's right near that ePark. It's going to be mutually beneficial to all parties, right? The community, these shops. It also takes away the burden from any one business being the sole responsible for, putting up the money and so forth. So it's really a community effort for the benefit of the community. Does that answer your question?
It does, thanks. Just lastly, curious, who's going to pay the electricity bills for the charge?
Well, one aspect of our particular team is we are all designers, and we didn't we requested a business major, but unfortunately those were in high demand. So the early thoughts around that, I would say, is the metering of energy usage, especially those e-scooters, e-bicycles, delivery robots that are going to be using that space, can certainly share it with that. But there's also an advertising component of, that generates additional revenue in the area. Does that answer your question?
Lance, I think he's thinking about it.
Yes.
I'm so like it. Yeah. I know it's 4:30 in the morning. It's still a little bit of time delay between here and Honolulu. So that's fine. We will, as an exception, we'll go ahead and forgive you, Lance. Thank you. Any other questions from the mentors, or better said, from the jury?
Yeah, I've got one. Is there a way for users to like know where there are available outlets and whether those are currently in use?
Yeah, so we thought a lot about this idea. A whole separate branch of ideas was around an app, which would let you see where eParks are, be able to filter for accessibility features in the network of ePark. But we think ultimately people are most comfortable using the apps that they're familiar with. So imagine we appear in TripAdvisor and Yelp, but ultimately the routing to get to where those places are is going to be done through your choice of Google Maps, Apple Maps, whatever your map tool you use. So I agree, filtering is going to be really important to know, is it for my wheelchair? Is it, the wattage correct? So forth like that. Great question.
I think one aspect, I'm part of this team, is that just like you see this TripAdvisor stickers or even like Michelin stars, private restaurants have the opportunity to sort of lock their restaurant with charging abilities into our network, so into our backend. And we sort of provide this information to all kinds of mapping services such as Google Maps. And they can pretty much advertise their restaurant or cafe or whatever by sort of getting our badge of approval and like providing further incentives, not only for wheelchair users, but also for all kinds of people who want to charge up the devices to join their business. And this in return also makes ePark an interesting investment for these restaurants, which of course would also provide the money to build such eParks.
Thank you, Titus.
Thank you. Thank you, Titus. I'd like to go ahead and remind the mentors to use the judging sheet just to make sure that we are able to cover all the points required to honor our teams, making sure that the data is appropriate. Any other questions from our mentors tied to ePark? If not, then I say thank you very much, Roland Co. Then we move on to our last team for today. Thanks a lot, Roland. The last team for today would be US number 4, and the team is called Lynch, and they are another accessible micromobility solution. So can I have the representative from Lynch?
Hi, Lynx, yes.
Oh, Lynx, apologies.
Oh, no, that's fine. This is some good early feedback already.
Yeah. It didn't pass the dummy test with me. Yes. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna share my screen, but not my Slack.
There we go, Lucy. We see it.
Okay. Great. I'm gonna play this video and then we'll answer any questions you have.
Okay.
Meet Heather. Heather teaches 6th grade and is a single mother of 2. She's been a teacher for 10 years. Coming out of the Great Recession, she didn't see a pay raise, but her cost of living has increased significantly. While tech workers command higher salaries, workers like Heather can't keep up. She had to move farther away from her school to find an affordable home to rent and now commutes an hour and a half each way. Therefore, she has less time to spend with her 2 kids and isn't sure how long she can keep this up for. Teachers like Heather aren't alone. Other shift workers like firefighters, university staff, and non-tech shift workers are getting pushed further and further outside of cities and further away from their jobs. We envision a point-to-point solution where fully outfitted LEVs take users the first and last mile and integrate with long-haul trucking for efficient and productive commuting.
Introducing Lynx. The first part of our journey, we're leveraging existing vehicles by Huvo Microlino, and believe with only slight modifications, we can use these vehicles to help get our workers where they need to be. These vehicles are fully autonomous, fully electric, and equipped with Wi-Fi so that our users can stay productive throughout their entire journey. After picking up our workers in their neighborhoods, these vehicles travel to an 18-wheeler where they load up and travel across the highway until they get back into the city, where the vehicles then disembark and take our customers to the doorstep of exactly where they need to go. saving them time and hassle. In addition, we can leverage the existing Bay Area charging network and don't have any need to build out our own network of chargers. We're really excited to launch and have a phased rollout where we'll first test key assumptions and then partner with a single school district to launch our subscription service before scaling to additional business partners such as cities, schools, and corporations, and then launching additional services such as an on-demand service and logistics and package delivery service for any excess capacity we have. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Lucy and Co. Any questions for links? Going once. Going twice. Well, you were so bedazzled from links, I see.
I guess, where do you plan to park the Lynxes, or are they going to always be moving around?
Yes. So I think right now, if we're thinking on the front end, so they would start like overnight, we would charge them ideally back where our big truck is parked, or we'd have them go charge up at the nearby charging station, and they can also, if we're short on space, live in the truck. In the city, we see several options of, if these vehicles load, they can go pop into a charging station, depending on if they're replacing a car already that somebody's using to commute and there's space in that parking lot, they could park there. And we always have kind of the safety of our truck. Right now, for our initial launch, we're solving for this commute. And so we're not yet thinking about other trips we might do in the city. And that will also allow us to make sure we have enough charge so that we probably only have to charge at night to start. Longer term, I think there are opportunities to leverage more productivity. For example, if we're partnering with a school and somebody needs to run an errand before going home, or like maybe at lunch, there would be an opportunity to run those errands as well.
Lance, I feel a question coming on. Am I right?
How'd you know, Mike?
Oh, I have that sixth sense.
You're doing well. So, Lucy, great job. Just curious about the truck and the execution of that. Would the truck be able to leave without a full dock, or would they just leave with one teacher? And how would you coordinate that?
That's a good question. Part of the reason we're partnering to start with a school district is to have that like kind of set amount of capacity. And so while there could be, and we would expect some small amounts of day-by-day shift, we would anticipate that we would have a lot of that would be known in advance. I think we would need a service agreement and have a window, because we can't delay everybody if somebody's running late. That would need to be part of the user experience. We need to make that really clear that there's this window, and our customers are smart. They all understand the need to get to where they're going on time.
Sure. And did you mention the vehicles are autonomous, or the teacher's going to be driving them?
They're autonomous.
Okay. So they're going to be able to work the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Okay, well then, Lucy, thank you very much. We see that the participants are coming back. And so let's give them a minute or two to come back into our room. I think we have something along the lines of close to 80 participants, and I see the number increasing rapidly. And perhaps just to be on the safe side, I just received a note from Thomas that there is one group that is still working on the pitches, but they should be done here relatively soon. Perhaps if I can go ahead and check and see if Jack has joined us already.
I'm here.
Excellent, Jack. Perhaps if you can give us an insight as to the experiences that you had on your side. Unmute, please. Thank you.
Related to the pitches in
Correct.
my group.
Yeah. Sorry. Yes, I put myself on mute. Yes, if you could, that'd be great.
Yeah, we had 4 really interesting approaches to a variety of different problems. We had a really interesting battery switching network to reduce charging time and downtime on micromobility solutions. We had a really awesome presentation and video on a volunteer-based delivery system for providing critical groceries and other items to elderly and limited mobility people, particularly in the pandemic situation. We had the social mobilizers were focused on providing groceries, taking advantage of the difference between wholesale and retail prices to pool deliveries to low-income communities and solve the food desert problem. And there was a solution that was focusing on providing mobility to transportation deserts and harnessing the value of image recognition and data collection to understand the areas where transportation systems were lacking and needed maintenance, and deriving value for that from government stakeholders. So a really interesting variety of different teams and some really great presentations.
That's great to hear. Thank you very much for that, John. I would like to go ahead and move on to David, who was responsible for the mobility and goods room. So David, perhaps if you can give us an insight.
Yeah, well, I wasn't responsible. It was Alan who very kindly guided us through the process, and he shared, well, the teams shared with us 5 really nice, very diverse ideas. And what I liked about them was, of course, the diversity that comes from a very diverse group of participants, but also the way that they took a number of existing ingredients and combined them in a way that wasn't necessarily completely new, but addressed very specific and clearly defined problems. So I'll give you some examples. There was a drone delivery service for medicines in large congested cities, fast, reliable, and avoiding traffic jams. There's a food ordering app, and there are lots of those in the world, but this particular solution had a high degree of security in it, so everyone was sure that nothing was being stolen en route. There was an electric power infrastructure system that upgraded street lamps, so riders of e-scooters could plug their scooter into an upgraded street lamp to charge it, keeping the use of e-scooters a little bit more under control in our crazy cities. There was a great proposal for an autonomous electric vehicle for delivering bulky goods, particularly in cities that are attempting to be car-free. Again, taking existing hardware and applying it to a specific problem. And the last one we had was setting up a system of distribution hubs across cities combined with autonomous delivery vehicles to overcome the problem of always having a parcel on your doorstep when you're not in. So a really nice selection of proposals. And it was, to be honest, overall, the last 48 hours, it's been great to see the enthusiasm and the creativity and the dynamism that people have shown despite the challenges that we've been facing in these difficult times. So thank you to everyone for getting involved.
Yeah, I agree. The incitement has been very infectious, and especially considering this is the first time that any of us have tried to put together something along these lines in a virtual framework, and we're learning by doing. I think that things have worked out very, very well, and I was I think everybody can give themselves a pat on the back for their efforts.
I agree.
Hmm,
I agree.
Excellent. Okay, and thank you very much as well, Dave, for your presentation. Perhaps, Thomas, can you tell me whether Julian is finished with his group?
Yes, but we'll give him a minute, and maybe Katie can recap, provide some feedback on your session, and then we'll move on to Paul to provide the highlight from the room that Julian moderated.
Okay, fantastic. So then I would say, Paul, if you want, sorry, that was Katie you said, correct?
Yeah,
Thomas?
let's continue with Katie, and then Paul has the final word.
Okay, Katie, do we have you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Excellent. Okay, the
awesome.
stage is yours, Katie.
Thanks. Yeah, for mobility and people, we had some great presentations, and I agree, very diverse across a lot of different problems and a lot of different ways of tackling them. First, we had Como with collecting and aggregating data for micromobility operators, trying to make more of a community aspect around micromobility, paying more or less depending on your willingness to give data and share it to the community. We had another team working on transporting goods and how you can just add on an additional delivery to someone else on your way, and you get a cheaper price for that, which I thought was pretty cool. Another one tackling car sharing within companies, how we all, or a lot of us are guilty of the individual commute, and a way to easily car share with your fellow employees and maybe companies around you. Another one on wheelchair users, which I think is an important facet of micromobility that's not often talked about, and the idea of providing like a nice parklet where you can charge your wheelchair and sit, or you can charge your electric scooter, having great partnerships with businesses around the area. And then the last one on really innovative solution of taking pods to a centralized location, autonomous pods, putting them on a truck bed, going far to commute into the city or wherever there's an office center, and then separating out onto pods again, back to their individual offices. So really great ideas. Excited to hear all the others.
Yeah, well then, thank you very much, Katie, and I love your background. Yeah, no worries. And then I think to close us off, if we could have Paul discuss that of what was tied up in the last room.
Yes. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Great.
The stage is yours, sir.
Great. So we had the mobility and form factor room, and we had 4 great teams that were presenting their ideas on different aspects. The first one was e-dynamics, focused on a very interesting idea to be able to recover some of the energy from the dampening in the wheels. And so they're estimating they could perhaps get up to 20 to 60 watts per wheel maximum. So that could be an interesting way to recover some energy and help prolong the vehicle's ability to operate in the field. So a nice environmental aspect there. Another one was Pedora, with the idea of being able to have the different pods that could be able to be combined together or separate, which provides a little bit of optionality for different sizes of groups that may be traveling around, as well as the idea that you may sometimes have a need for more power. And so you could have pods that might be having more power to be able to bring them longer distance. So I think it's interesting to think about how there may be vehicles that are purpose-built to be able to have a X number of people. And at the same time, they may have small batteries, just like for the 50% or 80% of trips that might be necessary, but then vehicles or perhaps pushers like trains that could have more batteries for taking groups together. And the idea of chaining them together is very interesting. And then we had Aluminio Bikes, with a very interesting idea of being able to use recycled materials, specifically aluminum, from the community. I thought it was a nice way to thought about engaging a community to both collect the materials for the bikes and to engage them in that recycling process. And I think all of us are aware that trash and recycling are really important and especially probably in lower income communities where there may be issues with the value of these materials, perhaps the opportunity to provide some labor, some jobs there. So an interesting idea there. And then the last one was Aspect, with a very interesting aspect on design of creating a tricycle that could perhaps be a little bit more accessible to more people, where you could be sitting in it and a little bit more comfortable, addressing some of the concepts of safety, or at least the perception of safety, which is pretty important, and still having some transparent covering around to provide a little bit more protection from the elements, from rain and whatnot, as well as the idea of dynamic pricing. So thereby enabling people that are more willing to be beneficial actors to the system and taking the vehicles to and from someplace to get some discount or to be dropping them off. So that's a nice idea of being able to incentivize those who may be looking to save a little bit more. So we had 4 great teams, and looking forward to seeing the rest of the pitches when we have the opportunity. And I really want to thank Thomas and Marta and the team for just an absolutely amazing logistical job. Really, really great. Thank you.
If I could tell you, Paul, that we were able to go ahead and finish all of that within the hour. So I think high five to all of us as well. Thank you very much for that description. And with that, I'd like to go ahead and hand the stage over to Jack, if I may.
Thank you so much, Michael. I just wanted to let you all know that we'll be providing a survey and a avenue for all of you to review the videos of all of your peers and your pitches, and do community voting that will follow after this, and that will be due by next Friday when the overall winner will be announced. And I will pass it back off to Thomas and InnoDays to, or sorry, I'll pass it off to Julie. Are you on?
Unless she's hiding with a different name, I don't think so. Julie, are you around?
Calling all Julies.
Oh, yeah, she's on the way. Finally, a confusion with the time zone. Yeah, and maybe I'll use the opportunity to thank all of you. First of all, the participants. It was great to see how you work together despite being in different regions. We had teams pretty much all over the world, 3 streams in the US, in Europe, in Asia. So congrats to all of you for being great participants. It was great to see the ideas evolve from the sometimes vague thoughts in the beginning or the rough ideas, and then really coming to great solutions today when you shared your results. And we hope that this will not be the end, but our goal is really to have first an impulse and then build momentum. So that's why, as Jack said, we invite you next Friday to join our follow-up workshop, where we will announce the winner. And then this is also a great opportunity to get more feedback from our company partners, and our mentors will also now go through the videos and the pitch decks that you provided, so you can get more feedback as well as discuss how to make your idea happen going forward. So you're invited for that. If Julie joins, please let me know. Julie is the marketing director of Segway, and she will announce the prize in a second. I'll continue with my thanks. I want to thank EDF for being a great company partner, the whole team, especially Katie, Paul, and David, for being great company partners, great moderators. David running the sessions in Asia. It was a great experience. to also build links with your different offices around the world. And hopefully we can see many of the ideas being moved forward. Next thanks goes to our education partners, UC Berkeley, Jack and Alan from Berk. Particular thanks to you for helping to run everything and to recruit our US participants. MCI, Peter and Magdalena, thanks so much for involving your great students and for also being a lead mentor. East-West Center, Lance, we should mention that there is an opportunity. Lance, you want to quickly say one sentence about the opportunities that the East-West Center might provide for the participants?
Thanks, Thomas. Yes, I think you've placed it there on the website, right? A link where they can learn more about becoming an associate or a member of our network and look into our funding opportunities. We're really excited to serve as a launch pad to help some of these ideas really get tested and get off the ground. So please contact me or look at the information there. Thomas has linked in the site.
Great, thanks. Jingo Lab, Startup Grind, China, InnoWay are also partners, so we really appreciate everybody's support to bring this together. Last thanks to Marta for running most of the logistics here. Really was great to see this being brought together. We would have loved to do it face-to-face in Berkeley, but hopefully we can do that next year. For now, I think it was the best opportunity we had, and it was really giving us a chance to bring people together that I think otherwise we wouldn't have had the chance to bring together in a face-to-face setting. I think Julie is not yet here. Yeah, so we have one prize thanks to Segway, which is for one team scooters, and the Segway S device. Really thanks for Segway 9bot for providing this prize. And yeah, that's I think it from our side. As Jack said, look out for this follow-up email for the participants. We will do a community voting, so we encourage you to look through the videos. We'll put that on Airtable so you can see all the submissions, and then we'll put out a poll for the community's favorite. So please vote, provide us with feedback so that we can improve the virtual InnoDays. We have more events coming up. The next two will be virtual. One will be on mobility end of May. We're supposed to be in Austria. We'll do it virtually. So this will give you another opportunity to continue to work on topics like this. And then we have another one on circular economy in partnership with Mike from Circular Vienna, our great lead mentor and moderator now for our People's Room. Yeah, I'll end with the thanks to all the lead mentors, Marcus, Julian, Magdalena, Peter, Mike, Alan, Jack, Marta, and again, thanks to all of you again.
Maybe if I could just quickly say something, Thomas. This is coming from a Cal alum, Gear of 1981, who was very proud to be part of this organization today and wouldn't have been able to do it had it not been virtual. So thank you very much for that.
The last thing we have to do, Martin, if you can stop sharing the screen. Normally what we do is in a face-to-face setting, we do a team photo. So we'll try to do the equivalent here, where if each one of you turns on the camera, we'll try to do a screenshot with everybody camera on. The good thing about this event is we won't have to clean up the room. So after this, we're done, but let's get the group photo done. And
I have a couple of housekeeping things just
yeah,
at the very end. We can do it after the photo.
Yeah, should we try to do the group photo?
I'm frozen. So, Mike, unfreeze me.
frozen. More asked to start video. Yeah, so if everybody can turn on their video, I'm going to gallery view. Thanks, Roland. Keeping up
This
the
is
flag.
awesome.
All right.
Excited to see this one.
This will be the first page. We don't even have to pay a photographer to do this. I can do it with a screenshot. And we go to page 2. Nora, Stephen, Matthias, Perez, can you turn on the camera? Camera on, please.
It's somehow not working.
It's fine. Okay, we go back to our first page and we'll do a funny one. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I guess you don't know whether you're on page 1 or 2, but we'll do another funny one for all of you. 1, 2, 3. All right. Then check for you, parting words. Thanks again from my side.
Yeah, I just wanted to take a moment and continue to express gratitude. All of the work that InnoDays has put in to make this virtual event happen and adapt has been really incredible. Echoing all the thanks to our sponsors, EDF and the East West Center, and all of our mentors that have put in time. But most of all, I want to thank all of you for putting in so much time over the last 48 hours. This is really your event, and I really hope that you've made some good connections with folks that you've worked with. And I really hope that you bring some of these ideas and connections out into the world outside of our little virtual bubble here. We have this Slack channel that will stay active, so you kind of are now connected to this network of folks who have been through this process, and I hope that you continue to make use of that as we go forward. That's all. I'm really impressed by everything that I've seen here, and really grateful to all of you for participating and making this such an awesome event.
Yeah, and I forgot to specifically mention all the mentors, so not just the lead mentors, all the mentors. I think we had over 40 different mentors. I'm looking at Jerome from Renault, Akash from India, Lance from joining from Hawaii. Just picking out some of you, but I really appreciate all of your guys' time helping our teams move from idea to prototype in 40 hours. So thanks to all of you, and yeah, happy Easter. Oh,
don't forget to
thank you. All the best from Austria.
There's one thing I forgot. We would like to do quick interviews. So we'll have 3 rooms for interviews. One room, Ellen will interview a couple of participants. So that will be the room, Ellen, you were in the goods room. So if you can go with your 5 participants there, and then check if you can go with 5 mentors who are willing to answer 3 short questions into your room. So mentors, that will be the COVID or the fight COVID room. I shouldn't call it the COVID room. And then I'll stay here with the EDF crew just for 5 to 10 minutes for quick statements. We'll ask you 3 words to describe InnoDays. What were the highlights, or what was the highlight for you during the event? And then the last question will be, how do you benefit from InnoDays? So that will be the last part. So we'll let everybody log off if you're still available for the interviews, mentors with Czech in the ID 20 COVID room, participants with Alan in the ID 20 goods room, and then EDF, if you can stay in this room, we'll start with the interviews in a minute.
Okay, I'm hopping over to the goods. If any participants are free, just for like a minute, would love your take, but understand if you got to run. But please, last thing, I promise. Thank you.
Yeah, because we'll
Thank
put
you,
that
everyone.
PDF
highlight video
as well. Thank you, everyone.
So yeah, thanks again, EDF, Paul, everybody. It was great.
Thank you.
Thank you again. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Thank you all. I'm heading out.